If you ever wondered exactly how much you should be setting aside in terms of building your emergency fund, well, you landed on the right video, because today we're going to be walking through the intricate steps of what you need in order to figure out exactly how much will be necessary for your emergency fund. So if you're ready, let's go. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. Hi everyone, it's Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks that help you manage your financial baggage the right way. What an honor and privilege it is to be before you all for yet another episode drop here on the Debt Demolisher TV, where today we're going to be breaking down how to establish what your targets will be for your emergency fund. Now, before I get into the steps, one of the things that I want to be able to first share and explain is what an emergency fund is. Oftentimes people get this terminology confused, where they believe that their emergency fund is designed to be their nest egg. It's designed to be just one account that has everything in it that they're supposed to be able to leverage for the future. What I want you guys to really understand and be clear on is, when it comes to your emergency fund, this should be the amount that will be able to sustain you in the event that you lose your main source of income. So when you're looking at your main sources of income, we know that these are what you are receiving in terms of your monthly pay-ins, your monthly salary, your monthly wages, whatever earnings that you pay through your business to yourself. You're able to kind of identify what that income is. But let's say, for instance, if you suddenly lose your job, what if, for instance, you suddenly lose a major contract, and that major contract that you had is not able to give you the actual revenues that you were receiving inside of your business to ultimately then in turn pay yourself. So if you were to lose your main source of income completely, do you have a stash of cash that will allow you to continue to pay on the bills and the expenses that you have? So what is the first thing that you want to be able to first understand and recognize is identifying what your expenses are. Here on the Debt Demolisher TV, we talk a lot about budgeting. And so if you are not new to the channel, then you should know that this is something that you should already be able to pull quickly at your fingertips. If you are new to the channel, I want to welcome you here and thank you so much for being here and landing on this channel. And I also want to invite you to subscribe while you're at it. So subscribe while you're at it and hit the notification bell, so that way you can be aware of the next episode drop, because this is the space for you to be able to get your finances together. Not only are we talking about debt elimination, we're talking about effective money management, and we're talking about how we can make financial education easy for us, because the hard part is the emotional side of dealing with the challenges inside of your finances. But unless you come into the space of wanting to do something different for your life, then you really won't be able to get that transformation that you're actually looking for. So awareness is key. And because you are here, that is one sign that you are coming one step closer to being aware. So back to our conversation, understanding how much expenses you have. So if you are someone who, of course, has a place to live, I'm hoping that you do, that you have a vehicle to drive, I'm hoping that you do, or if you have some type of mode of transportation to get you from point A to point B, for you to be able to identify how you're eating, what foods and groceries, I'm pretty sure that you have a list of recurring expenses that you have each month. So in order for you to determine what your target is going to be for your emergency fund, you first have to understand and list out all of your expenses in a given month. So here's the exercise that I want you to do right now. Yes, right now, get your pad, get your paper, and begin to think about what you've spent over this last month, what you've spent over the last 2 months. And if you can't recall, look at your bills, pull up your statements that come in the mail, log into your email to see what notifications are you getting about your bills, and begin to just simply list them out. And as you list them out, you're going to be able to see how much you're spending on average. So I will say this, when it comes to your utilities, we all know that it fluctuates depending on the season, because your utilities is based on usage, especially when we're looking at water, when we're looking at gas, and when we're looking at electric. Some of our other utilities could be a standard rate. It could be a standard fee. So some of the things that I include as a part of my utilities are like my security company, because for me, that is a protection of my house, and it's also allowing my house to function and be protected per se. So I classify that as a utility expense. You may not want to classify that as a utility expense, but that's what I do. And I know that that cost is the same. So it doesn't change based on usage. It's a flat rate. So when you're looking at your expenses for the month, if you have any that vary in terms of price points, you want to look at how much you spent in a year and then take the average of that and then use that as your method to determine what that allocation is going to be for a month per se. So as you identify your expenses, you've identified what are your mandatory expenses. Let me break this down because we're going to split this up into two buckets. You want to identify what your mandatory expenses are, and then you also want to identify what your non-essential expenses are, because this is going to determine whether or not, if you get to that point of losing your main source of income, what will you cut? What will you cut? So if you identify upfront what your mandatory expenses are, then you know that these are things that you will not be able to have any wiggle room on in terms of eliminating because it's an essential expense, versus the second bucket, which is a non-essential expense, meaning you really don't need it, but you have it as a luxury, and if worse comes to worse, you can get rid of it. So when you classify these expenses in buckets, you're able to see how much of your spending is attributable to non-essential expenses, non-mandatory expenses, versus those that are. And so as you identify those that are, you really want to catapult on that number, because that is going to be your ultimate baseline. That's going to be your ultimate limit, the lowest level, absolute lowest level. And you're going to take whatever that number is and multiply it by a factor. And I'm going to talk about a factor coming up. If you really want to be able to still have your wiggle room in terms of your non-essential expenses or non-mandatory expenses, you still want to be able to capture that so that way you can see what that number is. So if your non-essential expenses per month on average gives you about $400 or $500, then you could still be able to segregate that to identify it as a part of your monthly expense. But if worse comes to worse, you know that you could eliminate that in order to ensure that you're having enough to cover those expenses. So when you're looking at establishing your factors, this is where you're going to decide, well, how long do you want this reserve that you're building to last? So because you've been able to identify the mandatory expenses that are necessary for you to be able to live, for you to be able to eat, for you to be able to function, you are going to identify those things. So your mandatory expenses will be things like your housing, transportation, food, and I would include minimal debt, because I'm very keen on my credit score. And one of the things that I don't want is for my credit to crumble just because of this particular situation. So if you have an idea of what your minimum debt is on your credit cards, then I would include that as a part of a mandatory expense. Even though you can have alternatives whereby you can reach out to the lenders and let them know, hey, I'm having financial hardship. Can I suspend my payments for a certain period of time? You just have to be willing to communicate. Don't forget about the video that I shared with you all about the Riko Method. I'll link that for you right here. But the Riko Method talked about how to communicate with your creditors and allow it to work for both parties. So when you're looking at your expenses, you're identifying what is mandatory versus non-mandatory. You're getting that total number. You're going to determine what your factor is. How long do you want your reserve to last? Do you want it to cover you for 6 months of no income? Do you want it to cover you for 18 months of no income? Do you want it to be able to cover you for 3 months of no income? You get to decide, because what's really going to matter and what's really going to make a difference is how long it's going to take you to get another main source of income now because of the source that you lost. So you get to determine how quickly you are able to be hired. You're able to determine how quickly you are able to gain new contracts and new clients and new customers. And again, it does also depend on the market. It depends on the season. It depends on what's happening in the economy. So I would always like to encourage people to err on the side of caution. One of the things that I teach when it comes to your emergency fund, and of course, you want to build up. So 3 months of living expenses is a great starting point. But just because you get to 3 months doesn't mean that you have to stop and no longer continue to contribute towards the building of your reserve. So it's good to identify the phases. If you want your first target to be 3 months, strive for that and then move forward. And then 6 months, and then 9 months, and then 12 months, and then 18 months, and so forth, until you get to your complete comfort level to say, hey, if I were to lose my job and I was not able to get any recurring revenue or recurring income coming in for at least 18 months, I know that my expenses are covered because I built a reserve. I built another account that can sustain those resources. Now it's up to you to decide how much of that you want it to be. Again, it depends on how soon it will take you to get recurring revenue coming into the door. So when you're looking at your emergency fund, I really want you to think of it from a perspective of it's supposed to cover you if your main source of income were to suddenly go away. If your main source of income were to suddenly go away today, how long would your reserve cover you? How long would your reserve cover you? Not including filing for unemployment or any of those things. That's even if you're able to be eligible or qualify for unemployment. But if you were to lose your main source of income today, how are you going to survive? Based on your existing responsibilities, based on your existing living environment, based on your existing expenses, your existing debt. How will you make it? So that's my challenge to you today. Think about what your emergency targets should be and begin to put a strategy in place to build toward that. Remember, your financial prosperity awaits you, and so does your financial sanity. You already know what I'm going to tell you to do, and that's what? Get to work. All right. Bye.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia